So the first thing that I did was I sat down and I just looked at all my anxieties around making new friends. The first one was, am I going to pay to play? I think once you come to terms with the fact that 80% of the time that answer might be yes, you can make clearer decisions on if something is worth using the spoons or not. Hello and welcome back to another week of Calling in Sick. I'm your host, Alex Wilderson. If you are watching this week, I have a new accessory because I went on a walk and nature decided that it wanted to take a hit out on me. I don't know what I did to piss it off, but it happened. But all jokes aside, I went on this lovely little nature walk with my friend Julie and Cooper Friday after we had finished our workday. It was glorious weather outside and we had all of our dogs, and it was a normal walk that I've done a ton of times before. But as you guys know, I had a botched spinal surgery and I have not fully recovered the sensation in my feet. And if I wear a thicker tennis shoe, it becomes increasingly difficult to understand what the ground is like that I'm walking on. So during this little walk, I did not notice that the ground had become very loose because it was really dry in Austin. I also wasn't looking down at the ground like I usually do when I'm walking. I was lost in conversation with my friends, and before I knew it, my feet were out from underneath me, and I tried to brace my fall with my hands. Immediate mistake, immediate pain, and old habits die hard. I tried to laugh it off to make sure that no one felt anxious that I had injured myself, but internally screaming in pain. Why I did that, I don't know. Julie is one of my best friends. Cooper is my husband. I could have been like, oh my God, this really fucking hurts. What do we do? But I didn't. Old habits die hard. What can I say? So we went home. I iced. I took Tylenol and Advil and really fought hard against Cooper to not go to the emergency room. Continued pushing that all weekend because I wanted to be right that nothing had happened. But come Monday morning, I was like, shit, we need to go to the doctor. Went to urgent care, got x-rays of both my hands, and I guess I was mostly right. It wasn't a big injury. I have a potential fracture in the snuff box joint of my thumb, which I think is the most hilarious name for a joint, and a sprain in my right hand. So I left urgent care with a splint. I was told to ice, take all the things to decrease inflammation, splint this guy if it starts becoming painful, and come back in 2 weeks if I'm still having pain. Apparently, the snuff box joint, it can get broken and an x-ray misses it in like 20% of the cases because it's such a teeny tiny joint, and if your hand is in a strange position, it'll hide the fracture or the break. But I'm going to go with the narrative that it's not broken and that this is unnecessary. But every time I do take this splint off and the other splint, like I am right now, free, I do have quite a bit of pain. So I shouldn't say pain though. It's not really painful. It's discomfort. It's sore and achy. But I pushed through and persevered, and I got to follow through on my new friend first time hang on Saturday. And I was so proud of myself, and I did not have to pay to play for that one. Although on Sunday I was pretty tired, but I think that's like a bajillion reasons why. Which is how I came to this week's topic of here's a blueprint for making new friends when you have a chronic illness. But before we dive into all of that, quick little housekeeping as I do. Please continue to like, follow, subscribe. Forward this to your chronic illness friends that are also perhaps trying to make new friends. And if you hear anything that you like, that you want to send to your friends that you already have to be like, hey, I like that, let's do that. You might have some good ones in this episode. So make sure you subscribe so you can get alerted when this episode drops, but you're already listening to it, so you're probably subscribed. And if you're not, go ahead and press that subscribe button. Second housekeeping thing is my comment that I always ask you guys to do. This will make more sense later on in the episode, but dropping it now anyway. I would like you to comment one thing that you're super passionate about that you would love to connect with someone else on. What I'm hoping is that we can turn this comment section into basically a Bumble friends dating situation, and you can find your people by seeing if anyone else comments what they're passionate about and if it matches you. Yeah, we are grassrootsing friendships right now. And I'll start Mine is Formula One. If you're a Formula One fan, please shoot me a DM. I would love to chat about any and all of it. It is a hyperfixation that has never gone away. Here for it all. Also would love for you to join my fantasy F1 league. So DM for that. Okay, enough about that. Let's get into the good stuff, which is my Alex's Picks of the Week. And the second thing I am super passionate about is skincare. Even though I know close to nothing about it, I've told you guys this before, I have tested a lot of things on myself. So I'm hoping that the skin rashes that I've had from products we have put into the no-go list have left me with a great suggestion pile that I can give to you guys rash-free. And since it's spring, almost summer in Austin, it was like 90 degrees last week and this week, so we're there. We're transitioning from the thick cream winter moisturizers to the lightweight summer appropriate moisturizers. I have a new brand that I have become smitten with. It's Prequel. I think I've talked to you guys about their 50-50 moisturizer, which is 50% peptides, 50% ceramides. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, it's amazing. No scent, lightweight, doesn't have that sticky feeling afterwards. It's fabulous. I don't know if they have been following me on social and they're just calling me out hard because I had a bad dry patch on my face last week. But this week on Monday, I received a Christmas present from them, which was their Reactive Skin Solutions Cream. It is like a steroid topical, but no steroid. I'm only 48 hours in, but it's done wonders for my dry patches on my face. I'm smitten like a kitten. This is going in the yes pile. I will keep you posted. I will keep you posted on this blossoming relationship. Suggestion number 2 of the week is for our body, and it is by another French brand. You guys know I love them. They've got high standards. It's Nécessaire. They have a body serum that is so lightweight. You put it on, and if you're dehydrated, your skin will drink it. I'm not kidding. Literally put it on, and it's gone. So it's also like a good litmus test, whatever that word is, for how dehydrated your skin is. And if you are dehydrated, put that on, and then put that buoy electrolyte into your water. Do it. This is your sign right now. Drink your water. We'll have a new segment for calling in sick. This is called water drinking together. We'll come up with a cuter name than that. Maybe like hydration time, hydration hang. Someone noodle on that. Let's come up with a cute little brand. And now that we're hydrated, let's chat about the blueprint of making new friends while you have a chronic illness. So you've heard me say this before. Chronic illness is the greatest filter in life. It will filter out bad relationships, bad jobs, toxicity from your life, basically everything. And what it boils down to is you really understand what your core values are and what you're looking for in your relationships, which is actually a good thing in the rearview mirror. Incredibly painful in the moment because you are in the grief and loss period. And if you're in that chapter of your life right now, just know it will get better. I promise. Those losses are just doors closing so that you can make space and open the door to newer and better relationships. So since I've been at this chronic illness game for a little over 2 decades, I sat down today and I tried to reflect on what do I value in a relationship? What stands out to me as like a really, really good friend? And I wanted to read them to you guys. And let me know what I'm missing out of this list. But the first one I wrote down was low pressure. And what I mean by that is these are people that just want to hang out with you, could care less what you guys get up to. They just want to spend time with you. Virtually, in real life, it doesn't really matter. It's that quality time. And I think that kind of leads to the next one, which is that they fundamentally know that there is something challenging in my life that is going to have seasons of being really, really shitty and really okay or manageable or even great. And I can't control how long each of those seasons last. And if I'm in the shit part for a while and need support for a while, they're not going to make me feel bad about that or say that I'm a bad return on an investment because I've been needy for a while. So instead of making comments like that, they're there to support you, love on you, lean in, and I think they also have some form of curiosity about what it's like to live with a chronic illness in both the bad times and the good times. I think curiosity shows a level of caring about this massive thing in your life. It also probably means that that friend is paying attention to what you share. I don't mean that they're keeping track and taking notes of every single thing that you say to them, and nor should they. Or that they're going to remember every single thing that you share with them. I mean, we wouldn't want someone to expect that of us. But they pay attention to the big themes, like, hey, I know her chronic illness makes her have really bad pain days. And when she has really bad pain days, she has low spoons, low energy, and probably isn't going to be the most communicative or responsive on text or phone calls or FaceTimes. So they have this layer of understanding of who you are and what you're going through. And I think when I boil all of that down, put it in a package and put a bow on it, I think it's just someone who is really kind to their core. They have this ability to understand and be empathetic and compassionate without having to do something or without having to know everything that you're going through. Friends like that, run towards them. And before I dive into how I knew my new friend from Saturday was going to be a good friend and someone I wanted to spend my spoons on, let's talk about how the hell I made an in real life new friend. So, at the beginning of this year, I put on my vision and dream board that I wanted to socialize a little bit more. There's this really interesting study that's come out of Harvard that says social isolation can be just as bad as smoking cigarettes. Now, I haven't done the research. I don't know all the logistics of that or if that was just like a flashy headliner, but there's enough data points like blue zones or centennial studies or the longevity study by Harvard that all underscore the importance of socializing for being a human, for the human existence. And I think that ranges from like actual biology, swapping microbiomes, a strengthened immune system, to the touchy-feely stuff. Like, if we are surrounded by love and strong relationships, we probably have a better lens and outlook on the world, and our will and grit to get through the hard shit is a little bit higher. Now, I'm not saying that being lonely is going to kill you. And Lord, when you're chronically ill, there are periods and stretches of time that are incredibly alienating. And during those moments, it might not be the season to go make new friends in real life. But I do have solutions for you for online, so stay tuned for that too. But I do think making a commitment to yourself to invest a little bit of time in a good relationship, be that an existing one or a blossoming new one, will only feed your soul and be good for you. Okay, but let's talk about how the heck I made a friend in real life this year. It started off with my commitment to socializing a little bit more. I know that I'm not always going to pay to play, but I might. So I just know going into that could be an outcome. So that means I just have to be super intentional about how I'm spending my spoons and who I'm spending them with. And since I've had a few seasons of friend shedding, doors closing, making new space for new relationships, I decided I wanted to invest in some new relationships. I've got the space for it. I've got the energy for it. I might as well. So the first thing that I did was I sat down and I just looked at all my anxieties around making new friends. The first one was, am I going to pay to play? I think once you come to terms with the fact that 80% of the time that answer might be yes, you can make clearer decisions on if something is worth using the spoons or not. Now, nobody has a crystal ball, so we're never going to be able to know how bad we'll be paying for something. But when you're in a chapter of life that's starting to get a little bit more predictable, whether that's in the box of I'm in a flare-up, I'm going to live within this box, or in that gray column, or even in the really good column, like I talked about in a couple episodes ago, you do have some telltale signs of this X will cause Y. Like maybe being outside in the sun for 5 hours is not a great idea, but sitting on the couch talking for 2 hours, those consequences just can't be that big. So I guess what I'm saying is be realistic. What kind of play will allow you to pay the smallest amount, and how much payment are you willing to pay, to give for that activity? The second anxiety that I had was I don't want to make other people uncomfortable when I talk about my health or make it seem like it's the only thing about me, all I talk about, and that I'm just attention seeking about my health. Those are all past relationship baggage that have no place in a new relationship. Of course, they exist for a reason. The comments that built up to those anxieties stung and still sting to this day. Clearly, otherwise I wouldn't have anxieties about them. I've had some friends, well, ex-friends I should say some gnarly shit to my face. One friend who was very close to me told me that that a friendship with me was not worth a return on her investment because I was too needy this last year and I didn't show up for her enough. That cut me to the core because I like to pride myself on being a decent enough friend, if not a pretty good friend. But time heals all things, and I've been able to reflect and know that that comment was more about shit going on in her life than it was about me being a good enough friend for her. As you can see, still some unpackaging to do on that one, but what I'm happy about is I'm not letting that comment or the, handful of other comments that I've been told in my life that have given me friendship anxiety hold me back from making new friends. Because I refuse to put my trauma onto somebody else that doesn't deserve that. So when I'm meeting somebody new and I get vulnerable and share about my health, if I make them uncomfortable, I can either decide to figure out why it made them uncomfortable. Newsflash, it's because of something in their own life, and try to work through that and around it to pursue that friendship. Or I can just let it slide. Maybe that is not meant to be a friendship. Or that person is going to respond with curiosity, kindness, compassion, empathy like a normal human being. And that opens the door for you to actually be yourself from the get-go, which is incredibly refreshing. Speaking of these first conversations with potential new friends, another anxiety that I have is that I live too different of a life relative to other people my age. Now, that was way more prevalent when I was in my 20s, and most of the other people in my age bracket were going out and partying, going to late dinners, staying up super late. Most of the social life revolved around drinking or staying up. Most of the social lives circulated around drinking, staying up late, or high spoon activities like travel or hiking or sporting. I'm happy to tell you guys that as you enter your 30s and later on in life, people prefer much calmer hangs, like getting a cup of coffee, sitting on the couch and chatting, getting your nails done, low spoon, low output, and hangouts during normal time frames. Everyone likes to protect their peace in the evening. The older you get, the more sacred your evening time becomes, which I honestly like. It bodes very nicely for my life. But even at this age bracket, I still meet super high octane people, meaning they are so full of energy, can stay up and go all day, still love to drink and party and go to dinner and travel the world and all these things. But they also hold respect for people that don't do that, which is the deal breaker. I think the older we get, it doesn't matter if you're in different chapters or phases in life. What does matter is just being excited for each person with how they pursue their own life. Not that they don't fit our own narrative. And that is a beautiful thing. And my last big anxiety was, what if I get exhausted? What if I have embarrassing symptoms in public? It's that anxiety that always pops into my head right before I walk into the door. But I also have Cooper's words, St. Cooper, we love him, ringing in my head at the same time of, you can always leave. You can always remove yourself. You can always say the good old Midwestern, hit your knees and stand up. Looks like I gotta get going. And you can remove yourself. You're not forced to stay anywhere. So do what you can with the spoons that you have and live in that moment. Try not to borrow tomorrow's troubles or worry about the baggage of friendships past. Right now, you have an opportunity. And we're all about that reframe and the lens shift. If you live in the now and you see each of these new interactions as potential new friendships, I think you'll find a lot of joy in your life. Okay, now let's talk about how the hell I made some new friends. One is IRL and one is online. So whatever floats your boat, I've got things for both of them. I sat down and I outlined what are the things I'm most passionate about. Regardless if I'm talking to somebody in person or virtually, It's so easy to connect when you have a shared interest. So I just made my list. That way I didn't have any anxieties of what do I talk about. Okay, here are my talking points. Here are the things I could talk to a wall about. When you do that and you have it in the back of your mind, you're taking the pressure off of having to build a conversation, which when you haven't been socializing a ton, that can feel incredibly stressful because you just feel out of sync and kind of awkward, candidly. So have your little talking points ready to go. Second thing is just putting yourself out there. Sign up for something. Go to the event. You're not going to meet new people if you don't go out, but you're also not going to meet the people you want to meet going to the wrong place. What do I mean by that? So, if you go to a bar, you're going to meet people that like going to a bar. So if you are chronically ill and that's how you have always socialized, this is me being gentle but blunt with you. You're probably not going to meet your new social circle doing those same activities. So what brings you joy? Do you like playing cards or mahjong? Are you a fly fisher? There are local clubs for young adults doing all different kinds of activities in every city. So that's great for the in-person stuff. For me, it was I love content creation. I love wellness stuff. So I started going to these creator events and influencer events that had an overarching umbrella theme of something I was passionate about. Fashion, skincare, health and wellness, any of the things that were on my talking points list, candidly. For the online stuff, I signed up for a young adult support group. I got to engage with people that had the same disease as me and hear about all of the different things that they do in their life and get inspired. So step number 2 is just putting yourself out there. Number 3, do it alone. I know that is fucking scary to do anything alone when it's new or you're just not used to it and it's an old routine that you just don't remember how to do. But if you go with somebody else to something that you know, you're staying in your comfort zone. You're more likely to just stay and chat with that person than to just say hi to a stranger. One of the influencer events I went to during South by, I brought Cooper. And you bet your ass I did not make any new friends during that event because we were just hanging out during that time. And that was totally fine. We had a date night of it and it was great and I loved it. But the other influencer events that I went to, I did not bring him. I did not bring my security blanket. And I walked away with new friends. One of them was the friend that I hung out with on Saturday. And you'll hear more about how that friendship developed and blossomed shortly. 4. Now we've already talked about the anxieties, but it's reframing them. So as they start to bubble and build, right before you jump into an event or actually go and meet this new friend, reframe. Anxiety and excitement, our brains don't actually know the difference. But if you verbally label it as excitement, your neural pathways will start to transition as, oh, all of these parasympathetic symptoms I'm having, like sweating, getting warm, shakiness, that's excitement. That's not anxiety. And that actually works. It's scientifically proven. You can test it on yourself. It's one of the coolest experiences you can have doing that actual reframe because you can feel it physically in the moment. 5, make a decision on if you're going to be open about your health condition and how much you're going to share about it. I know that we've talked about having like an elevator pitch for your doctors. It's not a bad idea to have an elevator pitch about your medical story for social settings, if you're going to be open and talk about it. And you don't have to. At different phases in my health journey, I have been more or less open to sharing that part of my life. I would say most of college, that was pretty much off the table unless someone else brought it to me. In which case, I'd be open to chatting about it, but maybe not as open as I am today. At this age and stage in my life, I candidly would rather just cut through the bullshit and quickly filter through, yes, have this conversation with this person, spend those spoons, or, you know what, on to the next. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then find somebody else to chat with. And that is the beauty of time. Time makes you be okay with Time makes you better at distilling someone's reaction or response to you sharing your health story, digesting if you like it or not, and then deciding what you want to do. And I really want to do an episode on the communication for when that response doesn't feel great. I'm still kind of working on how I think about all of that, but stay tuned. It's coming, and I think it'll be a good one. So if you do decide to share your health story, that elevator pitch, you don't need to go into the whole 10-minute, 20-minute saga. Boil it down. Hey, these are my diseases. I got diagnosed at X age. This is how it impacts my life. That opens I think having it really distilled, short and punchy, opens the door for whoever you're talking with to really be curious and engage with it. And then they have the permission to take it to where they are comfortable. Maybe they grew up in a family with chronic illnesses, so they speak our language, and you can really get into the nuts and bolts about it. Or maybe they have something kind of similar, or maybe they've had a somewhat similar experience, maybe a different kind of trauma bucket, but similar enough in impact to life. And then you kind of bond about that. But I think but what I found is that I love leading with, hey, this is my health stuff, putting it on the table. It helps me decide where to go next. And the last thing that I did, be an active listener. When you're anxious, it is so easy to let things go right over your head and start thinking about, what do I say next? But guess what? You're a human. You've had plenty of conversations in your life, and you still have a lot of conversations, but probably just with people you're more comfortable with. Calm your parasympathetic nervous system and listen, because you want to show that you can be a good friend too. Don't let that anxiety take the rule of your house and outrun all of who you are, so that you lose the opportunity maybe of this new friendship. Okay, and now it's story time. So, back in February, I went to my very first influencer event. It was a Galentine's party by Kendra Scott. We made our own bouquets. They had little goodie bags, food, drinks, whole 9 yards. I went as my network CEO's plus one. I had asked her a little bit about, how do I get into this circuit? I have some interest in it. What do I do? She kind of took me under her wing and brought me with her. But when we got there, she was laughing because I didn't even stay with her. I went and I met a bunch of new people, chatted my way around the room, and immediately was drawn to this very bubbly girl. And when we met, someone brought up food. Oh, do you guys want to go eat? Her and I both said no, I ate beforehand. And I was like, oh, you do that too? And she said, yeah, I've got a peanut and tree nut allergy. And it was like, oh my God, we are sisters for life. Let's chat. Immediate medical bond. We love that. We talked a little bit, exchanged numbers, followed each other on socials, and then we didn't just let things pause there. We started liking each other's stuff, commenting on stuff, and then actually followed up on hanging. Now we were supposed to hang out like a week or so ago, but I was having a bad symptom day and did not feel good. And when I had to cancel our plans, I remember feeling so much dread because I was so excited to hang out with her. And I thought, man, I probably just blew up the one chance I had to try to be friends with this girl. That was old friend trauma that I was just bringing into it. Because this is a very sweet girl. Her name's Danielle Price. If you don't follow her yet on socials, go do it. She's my new bestie. And she said no worries at all. And we kept messaging throughout the week and made plans to hang out the next weekend. That was the Saturday. And y'all, the way that she handled my health made me feel so good inside. She had clearly been following my socials and seeing me share my symptoms throughout the week, what had been going on. And so the first thing that she messaged over to me on Saturday was, how are you doing? How's your body feel? What do you feel up to? Do you even still feel okay to hang out today? No worries if not. She gave me permission to cancel without feeling guilty. She opened up what we could do to anything. And then she gave options. Decision fatigue / also that she was open and willing to do this whole array of activities. Be it sit on the couch and just chat for a few hours, go on a walk, go get coffee. She was down for whatever. She just wanted to hang out with me, and that made me feel so safe, so special, and so secure. All of those like past friendship anxieties that I had kind of been carrying quietly beside me unknowingly, threw them right out the window because I realized this is a new friendship. This is a very sweet girl. She is exuding bubbliness and kindness, and she gets it. I'm not going to have to explain spoon theory or high symptom days or health anxieties. She just gets it. And at the top of the episode, when I was chatting about what do I value in a friendship, that's kind of her. So we had this awesome couch hangout. We ended up chatting for like 4 hours on Saturday. Hit it right off the bat. Fast friends. And the best part, she has an adorable blonde Westie, his name's Gatsby, who's very protective of her. And I obviously have Teddy Boy, who is attached to the hip, who's also very protective of me. And her and I were laughing that, if Gatsby were to come and sit on my lap, Teddy might get a little cranky. And she said vice versa. Nope, didn't happen. Dogs swapped laps. They were both so happy. They were playing with each other, chasing each other. Cutest thing in the world. And it was like, God wink, God wink, God wink. This is a sign of a very lovely blossoming friendship. So as you think about making new friends, I think my number one tip is to understand and give yourself grace that you totally are going to have past relationship baggage in the friend department. Because being chronically ill, we go through too many seasons of friend loss and then having to grieve those relationships and the shitty things that they have said or done regarding our health. But I truly believe that God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, cares about each of us. And if we can get out of our own way, look for those glimmers, have the gratitude that, okay, now we have some more space and are willing and ready to open that door for new friendships, they can come. Whether that's, like I said, in real life from connecting with people through whether that's in real life, connecting with people at a shared interest event, or online similarly. And I hope that this episode gives each of you a little bit of inspiration and all of the confidence that there are new friends out there waiting for you. Now, to wrap this episode, as I always do, let's talk about my one brain cell show wreck of the week. This is one that you absolutely can watch with your new bestie. It is Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. There are many, I think 4 seasons out at this point. It is phenomenal. Why I love this show, besides the fact that there is just an all-star cast in every single season, it is so comforting. Little Alex loved reading Agatha Christie novels. Loved it. I love the murder. No, I don't love the murder. I love the whodunit story of the murder Wow. I love the murder mystery, the whodunit aspect, the page-turning drama that would unfold in each of those books. And this show feels like that, where you feel like you're in the show, sitting on the couch with Steve Martin and Martin Short, and our queen and savior, Selena Gomez, our chronic illness queen. You will find yourself laughing. You will find yourself in full suspense. You will find yourself just having so much empathy and sympathy for each of these characters as their storylines develop. So if you haven't watched it yet, you have, I think, 4 seasons. 4 seasons you can binge watch. But in case you think Only Murders in the Building is going to be scary, my mom thought it was. She was like, I don't do murder shows, Alexandra. It's Martin Short and Steve Martin. They're not going to do you wrong. It will not be too much. There's a little suspense, but a good amount, a healthy amount of suspense. Kind of like moving from anxiety to excitement, lens shifting. And speaking of shows to watch on your couch, it is time for me to go have couch TV time with St. Cooper. We have been checking things off of our to-do list for the last 10 days, and it is time to have some rest and some quality time together. So thank you for spending today with me. I hope it feels like we are sitting on the couch together. Remember to drink your water. I love you, and I will see you next week. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Calling in Sick. As a reminder, I would love for y'all to like, follow, subscribe, save, share with a friend, do all of the things. It truly helps grow this community, and it helps these episodes reach the people that need them the most, whether that's for an educational piece, to have a little laugh, or to not feel so alone. As a reminder, Calling in Sick sits on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else where you can find your listens. From the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for calling in sick with me every Monday. It's been an honor and a pleasure so far, and I can't wait to continue building this community with y'all. Love you.